Welcome back. Now, President Cyril Ramaphosa has stood by the costs associated with his Imbizos, labeling them as money well spent amidst a wave of criticism regarding the 44 million rand expended on 4 meetings in the span of 8 months. This controversy has resulted in civil society organization #NotInMyName lodging a complaint with the public protector. Now, for more insights on this conversation, we're joined by Siyabulela, Jentile, who is the president of Not In My Name. Very good evening. Thanks for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me.
Siyabulela, yesterday we saw the presidential Imbizo, yet another one, with senior government officials and ministers, and again, residents in part of South Africa voicing their concerns. But as an organization, you're saying we should do away with these Imbizos. Tell us more.
Of course, once more, thanks for having us on the show. We have made a clarion call specifically to the people of Tsakane because we were not aware of the cost implications involved in the past 4 Imbizos that happened just before the 2024 national and provincial elections, wherein the government spent over 40 million, in fact 44 million rands to be exact, on the presidential Imbizos. So I think we are well within our rights to say that so far, over the past 5 Imbizos, the government have spent over 55 million rands, if you just try and balance numbers, basically. And we had said that the people of Tsakane must reject this. The people of Ekurhuleni must reject this Imbizos because we feel that, and this is their feeling as well, that the money should have been channeled elsewhere. You would have seen in the past few months, the Tsakane has been marred with various service delivery protests around water, around electricity. And so for a government to go and spend over 10, 11 million rands to the people of Tsakane and ask them, what are your problems? When you know very well that they don't have water, they have electricity issues, but you spend so much money to have an engagement with them. For us, it's hypocrisy. It's characteristics of a government that is sadistic. It takes pleasure in the suffering of black people in particular. It is narcissistic. It is a government that is detached and aloof from the lived realities of the people of South Africa.
Now, as we saw yesterday, the residents of Tsakane and parts of Ekurhuleni as well came out in their numbers. You know, they did not heed the call to say stay away and make that call, make that protest. Now that we know that we're not at that point yet, Siyabulela, where our residents are saying, look, we will not be coming. They came in their numbers. They wanted to speak more. They wanted more time, in fact, to voice their grievances. But is this all just a talk shop?
Most definitely. It is a talk shop, nothing other than a talk shop. And I just want to quickly say that, because I know tomorrow Vincent Magwenya or someone from the presidency will say these things have been happening since the times of President Mbeki. We want to say that they need to have what we refer to as contextual intelligence. Context right now in South Africa, times have changed. Our democracy is no longer a 10-year-old boy. It is a 30-year-old man, right? And you need to understand from that perspective that we are facing a different kind of animal now. Our unemployment rate is sitting at 33.5%. During President Mbeki's time, it was there around 22, 23 something. You look at the rand exchange rate between the rand and the dollar. During President Mbeki's time, it was around 7 rands. Now it's almost 18 rands. And so they cannot use that to justify what is happening now. Right now we are here. We don't have a proper service delivery. We don't have electricity. We've got high levels of crimes with your construction mafias and all that. And the government knows these things. They know very well. I saw the premier sitting there with the he knows what is happening. There's a what you call the GYB, Gauteng Youth Brigades. Over 32,000 of young people have been retrenched. Their contracts have not been renewed. These are assistant teachers, by the way. You've got assistant agricultural practitioners, over 4,700 of them. They are still waiting for the government to assist them. So the government knows these things. So for them to say we are going to listen to the people, by the way, they were driving on top of potholes on their way to Tsakane there. They know what is happening there. So it's a talk shop. There is no a report that says to us, since the implementation of these Imbizos, this is the return on investment on our side as government. And so just to be clear, that we are not saying that the government should not engage its people.
Yes,
the government
because as we saw, people really do have a lot to voice, a lot to say as well.
That is because the people who are tasked with doing that kind of work are not doing it. I made a mistake. I made a comment when I was on this show a few weeks ago that, this station a few weeks ago, that I was in Makanda, formerly known as Grahamstown, at Rhodes University. And a few people said to me, the mayor does not stay in the city. You get the point. And the point I was making was that these people don't stay in the areas of the people that they service. That is why now they come with the president and the premier and the MECs and with everyone with big cars, and they must hire marquees, hire toilets, and make it a halabaloo, because they don't know what is happening. Had they known that our people are suffering with A, B, and C, it will be an easy exercise, this thing. Cyril does not need to come and wear sunglasses there and tell us that he's got an eye infection. And by the way they lie, these people who don't even know that it's true that he has got an eye infection.
I mean, well, he did miss quite important engagements this week, so
we don't know.
I guess
we don't know.
That's another. There's clearly a trust deficit, but like I think for that one we can vouch for them. But anyway, just you're speaking about we're talking about the ministers who were there as well. I mean, we saw almost every single minister apart from the DA ministers there too. And what it seems as though, you mentioned Vincent Magwenya earlier from the presidency, they might come back and say, but look, also at these Imbizos, the ministers are there and their staff complements also there, and they take down the details of these people. So for instance, there was an elderly woman who was there with her paperwork to show that she's been on the housing backlog listed since 2005 or something and been waiting. And you had the ministers and deputy ministers there to be able to assess those problems on hand immediately. Would you say that they're beneficial in that state?
No, they are not. Is that how we're going to run government now? Do we need to have the president and the ministers going to going to the ground and booking stadiums and marquees and toilets to listen to the people? Are we saying that the three levels of government, being local, provincial, and national, have failed? Is that what we are saying to the people of South Africa, that for us to do work, we need to all come together and go to the ground and listen to your concerns? The government knows exactly what is happening on the ground, but they are not acting on those. I said it earlier that we don't know if we're getting any return on investment on this thing. The government has been going to these Imbizos, but the people are still saying, but I mean, we can't take glory in someone saying, I've been waiting for a house since 2005. I said it earlier that this democracy is now 30 years old. Someone somewhere is not doing their work. South Africa, I keep saying that, remains the most unequal country in the world. We have got a 33.5 unemployment rate. A significant amount of young people are living below the poverty line in this country. And then as a government, you feel that spending over 50 million rands on 5 community meetings is justified, and we must take you serious. Look at this. You are a father, you are in your house, you're staying upstairs. You come down and your children are telling you, we don't have school shoes, we don't have money to go to college, we don't have food in the fridge. And then you say, okay, no, I hear what you are saying. In fact, I'm going to call a family meeting, but we're going to hire a restaurant. In that restaurant, you are going to spend 20,000 rand to book the restaurant. You are going to hire a private chef for that restaurant. You are going to hire a company car to take your children from home into that restaurant. You are spending all this money to get there, and by the way, you're saying you've got problems. What are your problems? Okay, no, you must know that myself as your father, I am dealing with these issues. Then you go back home. When you get home, you go upstairs. Your children are still there. You could have used the monies that you've used in booking the transport, paying the chef, and booking the restaurant into dealing with some of these issues. Some of these things, they don't require a lot of money, but you've got a government, again, that is sadistic, that is narcissistic, that does not care about the people of this country. That is the government that we need to reject. That is the kind of politics that we need to reject. And I don't care that it's a government of national unity, it's this political party, they are all the same. And for the first time, by the way, I want to commend the ministers of DA for not going into that thing, because they realize that it's a shame, it's a waste of state resources, it's a lie. That's why one of them was wearing, 2 of them were wearing sunglasses there, because they can't face the people of South Africa and tell them the truth, that they're lying to them.
Yeah, you got a big problem with those sunglasses, eh? Siyabulela, let's talk about, I mean, what we see on television from these Imbizos as well. They don't look so extravagant either, right? It's a tent, a couple of chairs. They probably also get them lunch as well. How do you think we get up to over 40 million rand for 4 Imbizos?
There is cost in inflation allegations that must be tested. And that is why we wrote to the public protector of this country, who, by the way, some people call her the president's protector. And we're inclined to believe that she is actually the president's protector, because we wrote to her and said, public protector, help us make sense of this exuberant amount of money that are being spent on these things. They responded and said, please give us 10 days. We want to assess if this falls in line with our scope. We gave them 10 days. It's been 14 days now, if not 13 or whatever amount of days. So that says to us that there is a serious problem that goes in all of these departments that are there, including the public protector herself. So these monies are not justified. And that is where the bone of contention is. People think we're not attacking the government. When the government does good work, we come out, we're the first ones to say, here we agree with the government. But you cannot justify, under the circumstances that we live in today in South Africa, spending so much money on hiring marquees and toilets and stadiums, and say that, as the president said yesterday, no, this is important. Yes, no one is saying that is not important, but the monies are not corresponding with the actual work. As you are saying, those things are not extravagant. We look at them and we wonder, where is this money going? Someone somewhere is benefiting. And hence we say that it is the concerns of the people of South Africa legitimate to say that perhaps some of these funds were used or were channeled towards the campaigns of the African National Congress pre the elections. And that is what we want to be tested.
And that was my final question to you as well, that do you find the timing of these Imbizos as well a little bit concerning or suspicious?
Oh, of course they are. Look, we know how these people operate by now. And so yesterday, and one of the reasons we say to the people of Tsakane, there's no point in you going there. That was a damage control exercise. Okay, they would PR exercise, call it the first GNU Imbizo under the GNU, blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you now, some of the ministers there were there yesterday, don't believe in that thing that they're doing, but they're towing the line, you know. And so that thing was a waste of time, not only for government, but for the people of Tsakane and Ekurhuleni. What we need to be seeing is actual service delivery. Don't spend millions to come and listen to us when you know our problems. We've got water problems in South Africa. You've got electricity problems. You've got drugs problems. You've got crime problems. The government knows these things. And so to say we're calling people to check how far we have gone, we're calling people to have a discussion, it is we are not little kids. We can see right through their actions, and they must stop. And we're calling on all forward-thinking South Africans to reject these Imbizos, and for the government of this country to find it in the south deepest points of their heart to say that what we are doing, it is wrong. And we know that people are benefiting from these Imbizos. They must think for the greater good of the people of this country and say that we must start utilizing local government, provincial government, and national government appropriately. The president must be receiving reports from the people that are below him. Similar with the premier. They must stop lying to people. These guys have been going around lying before the elections. That is why now these 32,000 people, young people are, by the way, next week they are going to close, I don't know if it's the N1 or the N3, because the premier said to them, we are going to make sure that you get new contracts. They have not received. Now they are threatening to protest. And so the long and short of it, what we are saying as the movement is that the people of South Africa must reject these things. The president must go back into the drawing line and say, I'm a father, I'm in a household. The children need food, they need shoes, they need this and that. Instead of me calling them to a meeting and paying exuberant fees for those meetings, let me buy shoes, let me buy them food. That is what we want. We're not excited by seeing president in a stadium. We want water, we want electricity, we want safety, we want infrastructure development. That's
Very plain and simple and to the point. Thank you so much for your insights and the work that you do at Not In My Name, and of course for joining us in studio on the Saturday night.
Thank you.
That was Siyabulela Jentile, who's the president of Not In My Name International.